Alright, I'm streaming. Alright, I'm gonna share my screen so we'll be at the same time.
Copy.
Alright, so you can see the screen? Okay.
Yeah, I got the screen for you.
Okay. Alright, what do you think about the drafts here?
Well, again, I find it very interesting in regards to two that we did have the first overall the blue one there set. Obviously, again, there must have been a pretty substantial priority to grab top lane so briefly, in the contrast of ABW, who quite honestly, again, kind of balanced it out a little bit with the Corki and Vigar. For ABW, I'm not sure in regards to how much I enjoy kind of revealing your mid lane at that particular juncture. I would have been more interested or fascinated if instead they would have went something like, Corki Nasus in regards to that. But that obviously could be a preferential, making sure to keep that away from 2. Because again, just declaring where that Corki is going to be in, right after with Red 1 to follow it up with the Vigar and Red 2 is an interesting pick. Across the board, I feel like there is a certain time limit that 2 is being put on here with the Vigar and the Nasus in regards to just general stacking. So coming into this, looking on, both perspectives, I think 2 has, a more effective lockdown and pick comp, but as this game's going to continue to go on, ABW, again, just has a more substantial constant scaling that's possible. That's my feelings in regards to this.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I'm also curious how the bot lane for 2 is going to work. Like Kai'Sa Soraka, depending on what Corki goes, might struggle in that matchup. Corki Alistar is going to be pretty tough to deal with.
Well, again, absolutely, and yes, it is still again a favorable lane matchup. But obviously, once we get out of lane, that Corki Alistar can for sure put some damage on there. It's going to be pretty imperative. The only thing that I don't like about ABW's comp is that there is a good deal of mobility. Like, there isn't a good deal of initiate on regards to the Kai'Sa. If the Kai'Sa's positioning can be flawless or very, very good, then it could be exceptionally difficult for ABW to get to that backline without, again, like Kayn, kind of sacrificing himself and throwing himself into the cause. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, Nasus doesn't really have like, unless he can get onto the backline, he doesn't have like great wither access here.
Yeah.
If Kai'Sa's in the right position.
Oh, absolutely. So I think that there for sure is a better pick comp that is present with 2, but as I've said, ABW, every minute that in the game in which it's equal, I think heavily, benefits them. The longer the game is equal, the better it's going to be for ABW here.
Yeah, I agree. So. All right, it seems like we've got some people in chat. So I think we should get this going. Already got it pulled up. I'm going to game.
All right, let's roll it out. Again, as we're just kind of getting set up here, what I'm going to be most interested on the side of ABW is where the cane chooses to kind of throw their priority pre-6, because there is still the wither, there is still the cage in regards to both top and mid. Gank setup again in bot for them probably isn't excessively favorable, but it's not awful. We do see a little bit of a 5-man invade here on the blue on heading down to blue side here. So
I like it. They called them out in chat too. That's funny.
It is interesting in regards to the fact that Alistair's level 1 isn't necessarily all that great, and I would actually argue again across the board, there's not a lot of stuff here on red side that is super great level 1. So for them to go as 5, I like it. I like kind of the audaciousness of it. It's not as if blue side can necessarily punish it, but it's really interesting again, given the level 1s on blue side, that they went for that. So
yeah, for sure. I think they're just stronger level 1, especially with the hail blades on Corki. That's a lot of initial burst.
So again, looks like relatively conventional starts here as well by the junglers. Nothing too shocking. The interesting thing is, despite spotting out, again, the invade on red side relatively early, there wasn't any vision established by blue side as a response, short of, again, just to defend their own blue here. So they will sniff out the cane here due to that defensive ward that they placed, so that for sure, again, can be very useful information for Wukong's pathing, as well as, again, just across the board for the team. So well done there on the side of blue.
Yeah. Now Wukong's probably going to look to go vertical. Could opt into a bot lane gank here. Yeah, I have a feeling this game's going to be pretty quiet, especially in the mid lane.
Yeah, again, for sure, and I think that's how ABW wants it. So we do see the vertical here on the side of Wukong. So again, effective read in regards to what's been given information-wise.
I'm looking at runes and builds, seeing if there's any. Seems like the most vanilla game of League so far.
Well, and again, very much so. The only thing, again, early that I'm looking, again, favorable on the side of ABW is that Nasus is getting a fair bit of stacking, or like in regards to those thus far. So we'll see, and we'll have to that's definitely a case to monitor as, Wukong gets picked up here in the jungle.
Force a flash out. Has backup here. He didn't end up getting those wolves, did he?
I don't think so, and again, so definitely an effective response to the response in regards to Wukong. Definitely punish him, but I also have to shout out L there in regards to on the Soraka being able to get up there and react. I think was pretty crucial, even though again the flash was burned on the side of Wukong. It definitely discouraged red side to to entirely commit to potentially taking Wukong out there. So well done.
Yeah, and look at that. I mean, Fusaro's up in CS now, so. Oh, I just realized JWM is a set main, so they might have just had really preference on some bans, and then like, all right, now we gotta steal the set away from them.
And fantastic initiate by the by red side, yielding that first blood. Again, absolutely everything short of the flash being done. Awesomely, it looks like he's going to get the response kill. We'll see if he's actually able to get out, or if Alistar can just kind of pick that up at the end. it's going to be pretty close between both of them here. So. Ooh, and an excellent use of the barrier there to, again, pick up, 2 kills on that Kai'Sa. That's exactly what you're hoping for. Being able to turn that first blood back around and get 2 kills on your Kai'Sa. Given how this game, on the side of blue definitely needs the Kai'Sa ahead. So to grab 2 on that again could definitely present a potential win con for them. They're for sure hyper accelerating that aspect.
Chad, I fixed the team names for the HUD. Let me know if there's anything else that needs to be fixed there.
I also want to definitely shout out Fusro here thus far. Being up again 5 camps, like 5.5 minutes in, that's just chef's kiss in regards to this types of stuff.
Yeah,
That being said, JWM is again starting to really open up a pretty substantial CS lead on that Nasus. I would highly expect again that we're going to get to that point potentially where I'm not sure, short of lockdown, they're going to have to send multiple people at that Nasus at some point in this game if stuff doesn't if the game continues in this direction. So.
JWM putting on the herd is going to get ganked by Fusro here. Ult might run out soon, but they decided not to take it. The wave was too big.
And shout out to JWM there, again, initiating at level 6 on Nasus. Set at that time, again, was 5, so that was a favorable trade. And even still, for Link's Draco there to, end up getting to 6, it did take him a fair bit of time due to him being in the minion wave. So definitely, again, where the minion wave was set up was definitely favorable for him. So well done in both reading the gank and initiating when they did.
Looks like 2 is picking up the grubs. I'm surprised ABW doesn't trade there. Get a quick pick up with the dragon. They're looking for a bot lane gank. Might work out if there's a wall, but I don't think there's any follow up here. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Because now this gives time for 2 to set up for a counter dive. No dragon. Fusro is not here though. On the other side of the map, it looks like L's gonna go down to this dive. Well played by ABW, but
it's gonna be interesting. I kind of don't like. Glamorai isn't in the greatest position depending on where that ult goes down again. It's got to definitely burn some stuff. Could get for sure a trade onto that Alistair depending. Again, a little bit of a misstep on the side of Glamorai Jack. Again, you can't necessarily be blamed, but when there's 4 people around, again, depending on summoner spells, it definitely isn't. It's not a safe spot to be in regards to stuff when it's 4-on-1. You see that a whole lot in regards to even just present day worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of think like, oh, my laner just roamed, now I have to follow him. I have to compensate, or my team's gonna lose too much. But in reality, pushing mid there would have been beneficial. Still no dragon take. Very surprised by that.
And I think again it's really important that again if it's Saw Dude or S4W Dude, it was really important for him to get that kill to kind of help compensate for the CS differential that exists in the jungle to kind of balance out that gold. I think was really important on the side of ABW.
Yeah, it looks like a 2 is picking up a lot of these objectives here.
And again, and it's odd to say this in the context of but this game right now, we're only 9 minutes and change in. It definitely feels like again that given that there's substantial CS differences in regards to both mid and bot, it's going to be interesting to see where the junglers kind of place their own priorities, given that the game, comparatively speaking, is pretty close gold-wise in a variety of those lanes. Again, Slamurai, Slamurai having 2 potential turret plates, definitely there is a substantial gold advantage on that Malzahar presently. It'll be interesting to see if that gold advantage can translate to anything. You know, Malzahar is an effective champion, but certainly, you know, Vigar is a ticking time bomb in that regard, and Malzahar just simply can't match that in regards to pure damage. It brings it in utility, so.
Do you know the changes they made to the bounties? Do you know anything about that? Like how plates play into that?
I'm not sure in regards to that exactly, so I'm not. Yes, we do see Kane coming up here to make a difficult situation here on the set.
JWM is out of mana. Might be tough to follow up. No Wither. Tough gank to make when Estus doesn't have mana there.
Oh, absolutely, and full credit to Dracula for saving their flash there.
Nice Hex Flash by Really Bad Zed. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This lane's going to be pretty tough for the side of 2. It's a lot of damage on the Corki. Yep.
Well, and the interesting thing that I'm kind of seeing here, and maybe again that's just from my own perspective, is that, you know, if we're looking at stuff, Set is going to do Set things, and obviously Malzahar is going to continue to be a farm beast and take plates, but in general, that bot lane of 2 is heavily reliant on jungler to provide, you know, CC. He hasn't been up there that much. He's been obviously here around, you know, the Void Grubs here, trying to get potentially 4, or even just to get an additional 1, but it's probably going to cost his life here. So yeah.
Yeah, now that's going to be plenty of time for Sadu to get some CS back. So.
Well, and is it possible just to scroll up briefly to see if any of the grubs were taken there, just for a second? Yeah. Just because, again, like, if Sadu is able to grab those 3 grubs, it for sure could negate the advantage that's that originally Fuzro had in taking the first 3. There is indeed 1.
Yeah, there's 1 left.
So, it won't be 2, but again, the Corki just picking up a double kill. This bot lane, again, just continues to hemorrhage away gold, and without jungler intervention, I feel like, again, that this is exactly what ABW wants, right? They've got scalers in the solo lanes, and they've got a huge advantage in the bot lane. Everything just seems to kind of be going right for them for the most part here. We got Really Bad Zed coming up here again to support and deliver a little bit of a gank here. We'll see. Again, fantastic response by Slamurai to at least throw the ult down, you know, negate that initiate. We'll see again if JWM can come in here and again even pick something up here at the end. You know, Slamurai doesn't have a spell shield, and there's a whole lot of...
This is quite the dive. Oh my gosh.
So...
Ampex. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, just waiting patiently and delivered right into the waiting jaws of the Corki there. That Corki 612 sitting on that collector, you know, that's just that's exactly what you're hoping for again on the side of ABW, and they're solidly in control at this point. So
yeah, it's gonna be tough to lose this game. I mean, Corki's just gonna carry them into the late game.
And you're exactly right on that. Again, ABW has really, you know, been able to take advantage of bot lane, and so the power scaling curve on ABW is just, you know, it's present. When we started in first looking at this, we were saying again, any second in which the game is equal, that ABW is looking good, and we're 14 minutes in, and they're holding up a 4K gold lead. In the other lanes, you know, in every single lane, things are just working out fantastically for them. again, I give credit to two. They are again continuing to like push for the Rift Herald here. You know, potentially have something that could threaten JWM here. JWM topping that alt extremely early in regards to stuff. Well, I
Whoa!
wouldn't say early. Again, everything being expended in regards to that Nasus.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a statement on that dog and put him in the doghouse, and
Yeah.
they certainly did that there. So.
Yeah, on the side of 2, there's nothing like you can do to be proactive here. Like, the comp just is tough. It's a really tough comp to be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that they're gonna get outscaled, so they need to make sure that they're getting all the objectives.
Mm-hmm. And again, Fuzro has been effective on that. And again, despite the map state right now, Fuzro has continued to claim far more objectives, as well as, again, to be honest, have at least equal presence while still being, camps up on the Kane. It's just simply, again, that unfortunately where Kane was able to get his advantages translated extremely well to the map. Again, bot lane being so far behind now on the side of 2, I'm not sure in regards to stuff how they quite get back into the game without basically, again, kind of forcing a team fight. Whether that's, again, around an objective, whether that's an emergency Baron, because quite frankly, once more, every second that this kind of continues to go on, that any semblance of laning state or regular lanes or lanes exist, it's going to continue to favor ABW, for sure.
Yeah, if I'm 2 here, I'm just looking to not fight. You have Static Shiv, you have Malzahar, just push lanes and try to like get vision control and be first to objectives is the big thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not fighting unless you have a man advantage here.
Mm-hmm. And again, 2 has shown that they've been able to generate picks, whether that be on the Nasus or alternative. The options are there. It's just they eventually are going to have to find those spots or this little place to slowly claw themselves back into this game. Whether that's, again, creating 4v2s or just essentially unbalanced situations and scenarios.
Draco looking forward here. But Nasus is too tanky at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, again, I liked what 2 had done earlier, bringing up Slamurai Jack in regards to, locking that Nasus down. But there's no situation. Again, it looks like Fuzro is looking and peeking, so we'll see if they can get something off of this.
They gotta wait out this ult. Nice Soraka ult.
Yeah, again, that's exactly what 2 needs in order to get back into this game. Just juggling. You're gonna have to use more resources in order to create equal situations. So for them to do that, good on them.
And there it is. Shut down on the Corky.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, again, in the case of that, it's unfortunate. Really bad Zed had a really bad DC there. Mm-hmm. That definitely, again, like your heart goes out to people in regards to that. No one wants to see that type of thing happen. So,
but he comes back with a vengeance. Great knockup.
And again, I actually think in general, really bad Zed's been extremely capable and doing exactly what they've had to do in this game. So.
That was crazy. Great escape by Fuzro there.
For sure. No, that's just, again, that's really effective champion knowledge and using your resources very effectively on the side of Flash, and again, using the clove. So, we'll correct Fuzro there.
Alright, this next Dragon's, I feel like going to be a really crucial moment of this game. How the rest of the game's going to go. And I don't like that, if they're looking to contest on the side of 2, they need waves pushed out pronto.
Mm-hmm. And again, with that Nasus just sitting up top with their teleport, that's going to make things again exceptionally hard on the side of 2, because if the set teleports, too early or what have you, ABW can sacrifice the dragon if it means they get one or even 2 turrets top lane. So we'll see in regards to what ABW chooses to do, and if 2 again wants to react or just give this and wait out things a little bit longer. We do see the teleport coming in here on the side of 2, dropping that with the set. As previously said, that's a great play, but we'll see what it costs them top side.
Yeah, man, I think going straight to Baron after picking up Sawdude might be a play. They have really good objective take. So either they get vision onto Baron and then turn on someone, or they take it pretty quickly. They opt into the bot tower.
And again, I think that ultimately, all things considered, that's definitely something favorable on the side of 2. They were able to get an effective teleport out of the set. Get a kill. They didn't end up grabbing the dragon, but at the very least, they stabilized aspects of their gold. We'll see again as to what JWM wants to do top with the teleport advantage. If there is an unbalanced fight around bot side, I personally would like to see JWM go down bot side and make things even more difficult on the side of 2, because that would, if at any point that Lynch Draco, the set, comes down there, that's going to definitely set up a potential Baron take for them. And if Samurai Jack is down there, I'm not sure again if Samurai Jack can really survive short of being under tower with JWM, with how that's again set up. But they do seem to just be kind of keeping things as it is and just letting that Nasus scale up.
Yeah, I really would like to see Nasus in the bot lane here. Seems like they got that 6-2 Corki and they're not using it here.
And for the most part, things seem to again be relatively stable. Massive goal again. Most of the lanes are pretty balanced, but the difference is that again a full item difference on that Corki as opposed to Kai'Sa down bot lane.
Draco living with the Soraka ult baits the entire team in.
Really good flash there. Really, again, fantastic ults on the side of 2 here. This is exactly the type of thing that they absolutely unequivocally have to do in order to come back in this game. So full credit to 2 for taking advantage of that and getting both JWM and the Kayn. But there is at least again an equal trade, so it ends up becoming a 2 for 1 in the end. Again, still favoring 2, which it's solid enough, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get them in a worse state. So
it's just really unfortunate.
Given the fact again as to how the scaling of ABW is, it definitely again it's good enough, and that's not meant in a bad way. So.
Yeah. It would have been a beautiful play. Getting Baron after that.
It's interesting in regards to this point in the game. We still have this borderline feeling out motion between the 2 teams. I know we're 24 minutes in. We've got the Veigar in an optimal position. Obviously, he hasn't secured any kills yet, but you've got the fully stacked Rod of Ages. You've got the Archangels. Things are very effective there. I'm going to be interested to see what Bromstein does in regards to the later parts of this game. I think that 003 is it's deceptive, and we'll see in regards to how ABW uses him in these upcoming fights.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't quite have a damage item yet, and looks like maybe he's going to pick up a cap there, and That's gonna be a game
That being
changer.
said, I really like this setup as well from ABW, is with finally bringing that Nasus down. Bromstein again, they may have lynched Draco kind of caught here. We'll see
Oh,
what
under the
happens on the other
tower.
side of the
Uh-oh.
set shield.
Slammerai coming a
We
little
do
bit
have a
late.
teleport here by Slammerai Jack. I don't know. Again, this might be. They may have bitten off a little more than they. Two may have bitten off a little more than they can chew here. Fuzro also dropping.
Oh!
Slammerai Jack dropping the ult, but fantastic cancel on the side of really bad Zed too. I think this is again going to be, a 4 for 0 and potentially again a Baron. Could be a full ace depending on how they play their cards right.
Whoa! That was a lot of
That
damage.
is again a straight clean ace.
And the whole
Not
time.
a ton of health, but I'm not sure again as to how much they needed if that Nasus comes up, and we'll see if they push for Baron or if they're just going to take objectives here.
I'm taking Baron all day.
Looks like they're just gonna, be content enough to take the additional dragon, get all that gold into their pockets here. Perhaps have a reset as after JWM as well finishes up with the remaining minions, because I don't think again they can really threaten him here at this time. So with 3 dragons, now a 7k gold lead. This is, even more so exactly what ABW is looking for.
I'm thinking about it. Actually, that's really tough to do. That's like the one weakness on the side of ABWs is their Baron take isn't that great. But it doesn't seem like that's their goal here. If they just get Soul, they
Again, much as
spot.
I had previously discussed about the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa again is she's doing what she can, and I appreciate all throughout this game that for the most part, AwesomeNader54 has leaned towards not necessarily wanting to do too much, taking what's been presented to them. That early kill, getting that early double, but just simply there's just not. Given again that 2 has a fair bit of initiates and or lockdown, it feels like again that L is just kind of put into a series of no-win situations once ABW makes the active choice to just move forward. So
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I think he has done a really great job at that. And he's getting to the point in his build where he's gonna start doing damage. I don't know if we're gonna see that here.
Massive damage on the side of Mpex. That Corki just outputting a massive amount of damage. Obviously, Bromstein picking up the kill there, killing a spree. JWM, that's going to be another death here on the set in just a second here. Doing what he can. Lynch Draco doing what he can with the ult, but just not enough. Just too far behind at this particular juncture in the game. And the second that there's anything unbalanced, it's so difficult for L to move anywhere alone with how effectively scaled ABW is.
Fuzro thinking about it there.
That'll be the Baron. Fuzro looking again, full credit on that. Was looking for the steal, just simply did not have enough time. Again, a little bit of a cheeky banter on the side of JWM, throwing up the +12 there.
Yeah.
Too. So,
but Fuzro was right there,
feeling himself a bit despite being 3-4-1, and full credit to him. They've done very well in gradually extending their lead. So.
Yeah, that actually would have been pretty close if Nasus did get the Baron with the a Q +12.
Like I said, on the side of 2, I'm hoping that perhaps they're able to kind of look and /force something. JWM, for the most part, again, with, 10 CS, has had those points where there's been a slight bit of an overextension, and 2 has punished that. It'd be interesting to see if that, can translate to anything. Ampex just wallet slapping Fuzro with the fact that they're 10, 2, and 5. Additional very fantastic itemization on the side of Mpex to go through the Mortal Reminder, to have that heal cut, given again that you've got the Soraka, you've got the, just basically removing that aspect of even pushing or L further down the game. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get these waves in. It's hard to sync those waves up.
The only thing ABW is well set up, but they don't quite have both minions waves entirely synced up, and given the fact that the dragons are still not up for necessarily a little bit, it'd be interesting in regards to that. Perhaps if they would have synced them up, there would have been a situation where where two has to decide between Nasus or the group with kind of a 1-4 setup, but two, just effectively performing a little bit of, light-based defense before perhaps the heavy-based defense, which is, probably coming sooner rather than later, so to say, as ABW does crack that mid lane inhibitor turret. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. Did they get? They got the mid tower.
The dragon coming up, that is Soul. So we'll be interesting to see if two kind of again throws everything here and kind of tries for a desperation play, because at this point again it looks like, given the positioning of ABW, that it's going to be just a simple soul take, and that's that is again how it's going to be.
Whoa!
So, Chemtech Soul on the side of
Uh oh. That's just rough.
Yeah, I mean it's just an unfortunate situation. Mpex is so far ahead of stuff, and you're at the point again where you're either wallet slapping them or you're stack slapping them in regards to on the side of two. And given that unfortunately they weren't able to accelerate stuff with Fuzro, with the Wukong early, it just creates a situation where again it's kind of a you're picking the lesser of two poor situations and hoping that things can kind of again work out, because even just on that there was a relatively decent amount of damage, but simply because the carries on the side of two are just not necessarily that accelerated or in that position. Really bad Zed was able to overextend, but just simply be like, I'm Alistair, I'll just heal up, and you just simply don't have the damage to just straight burst me. So again, good job on the side of ABW. It's just again a situation where they just simply do not have enough weapons to deal with ABW if ABW chooses to all approach at once.
I think ABW could just close this out by a 1-4.
Yeah, and again, given the fact that you've got, two members already down on the side of, it so heavily favors ABW. Like
wow.
Just even simply just the burst. Yeah, no, Mpex again has, and all throughout this game, again, fantastic little flash shot, hex flash on the side of really bad Zed. Very clearly, they're not. The thing I appreciate about ABW off of this is they are not, just because they are stacking does not mean that they are passive. They've played a really aggressive game here, and they stand again to, take the Nexus as a result of it. So.
Yeah, this is looking like a closeout to game 1 here.
It is indeed, and that will be the Nexus for ABW in 34 minutes. So again, I think there was some promising stuff on the side of two. There was that early double kill on the Kaisa. So there's a lot of beneficial stuff. It's just without 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 again any jungle intervention. If both of the soul lanes were left to their own devices, it was going to be dangerous. So I'm really interested to see what pivot occurs with Fuzro here in regards to this next game.
Yeah, I definitely think that they needed a little bit more oomph to their team. I didn't like how it didn't seem like any lane had agency, and no lane outscaled the other for the side of two.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do like that I'm seeing now in the side of two is I see some pretty decent scaling, and I see a lot of CC, which is something I think they kind of lacked a little bit the last game. Like they had it, but it wasn't. It was like, okay, we got one kill with Malzahar ults. Now
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
yeah, again, this second set by two, I like the fact that it does have a fair bit of balance in regards to both AD and AP. And on the side of ABW very, very much is, they do still have the Vigar. They still have, Caitlyn traps as well as like Nasus slows. They should have a good way on the side of ABW for preventing initiates, because they can pretty much again 4 of those champs, with the exception of Kane, can either throw Sleepy Trouble Bubble, traps, Wither, or again just throw up the baby cage to prevent two's initiates in regards to stuff. So I would, if I'm on the side of two, I absolutely unequivocally have to be first to an objective in this game, because if ABW is set up, it is not going to be fun to be bush checking.
yeah, absolutely. That's totally true. I am really happy to see Zoe. I'm a big Zoe player, so I'm excited to see that in this game. And let's get that going. It is kind of nice with these watch parties that you don't have to wait on the players to draft and, someone DCs or something,
Mm-hmm. The thing I really like on the side of two here is, Samurai Jack did quite capably in game one. I like the fact that they've adjusted a little bit. They saw the Vigar and they threw Samurai Jack onto the Hui. I think again that really adds an additional damage profile that we'll see how it manifests over the course of the game. But I think again that helps square away the damage a little bit better on the side of two. So
yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm really excited for this Zoe though. I'm excited to see it.
I totally agree. I think again, given the fact that ABW got both of the same soul laners from game one, all of my eyes in general are going to be on the junglers and how they react to that bot lane. There is so much like subtle CC. All of those champions again have some aspect of CC. However, whether it's light or medium. So any movement by the junglers could really again be stopped, or alternatively be amplified if that Zoe's able to throw out the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, if Morgana can hit a Q. So it's going to be really interesting in regards to the bot side and what the junglers do with that this game. And shout out to Lynch Draco here in regards to stuff. Really early training patterns in regards to Nasus. I didn't really see that as much in the earlier parts of Game 1. You know, JWM was able to get a lot of early CS effectively, and while that doesn't necessarily, you know, 100% translate, I do like the aggression here.
Yeah, me too. I was just about to say that. That is something that didn't happen in that last game that needed to. Really bad Zed landing the bubble looks pretty good here. Awesome Nader just barely lives. The trap doesn't go off on the bubble, and they both make it out alive. Oh, that's unfortunate.
The one benefit on the side of ABW is that at least again your lane is so well set up, and for the most part, again, you know, Zoe did use both of her sums, but it's also traded off in the sense of that I feel like ABW has a good deal of lane control off of this, and Zoe again kind of has, even though her flash is down, I feel like there's an additional level of danger present in ABW's bot lane that just two can't match to the health at this particular juncture. So
yeah, and something to note that was something I really like about Zoe bot is that she has 3 more sums available to her that she just takes from the enemy.
Yeah, no one. Again, you see the benefits of really bad Zed. Again, just really using, for the most part, their resources effectively to generate leads. And, you know, we saw from Game 1, if Mpex has a lead, you're going to feel it. That being said, really good Dark Binding on the side of L. Good reaction by really bad Zed to at least balance it out. But, you know, we're getting to that point in regards to the bot lane where it's on a razor's edge, or a knife's edge on the side of 2. If they're either going to have to go back soon, or alternatively, you know, be really they have to be exceptionally careful, because there's a lot of potential for an early death that could be even more tragic down there. So we'll have to see what Ella and Awesome Nader 54, if they're able to kind of mitigate this tough enough. Again, interesting trades where both of the junglers get a kill from their mid laners, the opposing mid laners respectfully.
Now that's League of Legends. Just both junglers just all-inning the mid lane.
Well, and again, it's really interesting in both those aspects, because I sat there after that fight and going, well, you know, ultimately, who came out on top, or was there, you know, a favorable person who got the kills or what have you? And, you know, I think again both teams at the very least got to the end of that and went, well, it could have been worse and it could have been better. So, you know, full credit, but Samurai Jack really starting to open up a substantial CS lead though as well in mid. That, you know, even with this minion wave, you know, Bromstein isn't going to be able to completely equal up to. So. And again, you just see the slight difference in regards to HP as a resource that's being used on the side of ABW here. You know, 2 is doing the best they can with this Ash Morgana, but just the difference in health that the Zoe has is just a subtle weapon that continues to slowly extend leads on the side of ABW. So, let's see if Fuzro again. Fuzro ditching the Ignite. It is a full, you know, four-person bot lane off of stuff. But, you know, ABW is able to get out of that. They continue to, they've got their gold lead in regards to stuff. JWM continuing to, you know, just put in work on that Nasus, continue to generate, you know, a pretty substantial CS lead, especially again for 6 minutes in. We could have a fair bit of, you know, it kind of feels like shades of Game 1, where even though Lynch Draco is doing the best they can on the set, it's just, you know, this threat of Nasus is going to continue perhaps in this game.
Yeah, something that I wanted to say that I didn't quite remember it at the time, but I still don't like the B1 set, you know? Especially because when you steal away someone's like OTP, they know how to play against it. And it seems like JWM really does.
Mhm. And I think again, JW, like ABW has been really effective in just simply going, you know, we're willing to accept this and understand and move towards the areas where we can be successful, which is again obviously on this Nasus. And JWM was exceptional in game one in regards to just minimizing aspects of kind of that game. Yes, they got caught a few times, but substantial resources had to be invested topside. Where on the side of for Fuzro for the most part did not interact SW, like the Kane really didn't have to come top that much, whereas Samurai Jack and Fuzro had to come up there, more substantially in game one.
So. Yeah, there's a lot of really beneficial pressure. Draco might be Force of Flash here. JWM still going for it. It has just barely enough mana. And meanwhile, Fuzro picks up the grubs from Sawdude there. It seems like.
And this is the good thing on the side of 2. The difference that I was talking about briefly from game 1.
Wow.
Yeah. Fantastic damage on the side of 2 there to make sure to punish the Zoe. But the difference of taking Hui versus Malzahar, again, Malzahar is relatively effective on pushing, but the fact that Samurai Jack has been able to get enough of a CS lead to translate that into to grubbies as well is that is good news on the side of 2. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just want to say that was really well played on Awesomenator. He's really good at staying cool under pressure. They were getting kind of bullied out of CS there. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give some CS, and then as soon as he hit level 6, he realized that was his time to pull the trigger.
And again, full credit to Awesomenator 54 off of this. I've really felt in this series they haven't tried to do too much, and at some points again, you could feel comfortable if you're Ash Morgana having a little bit of a CS differential, because if your jungler is around, you've got the tools to lock down one of them. It's not again the Kate Morgana on the other side where if you're throwing your ult again as Ash, you might be in danger. There's multiple tools for this Ash to both stay in the game as well as turn this lane around at later times. So.
Here comes the pressure again. Does have ult. It's pushed back, taking a little bit of damage. Does Draco have the grit? Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, JW still picks up the kill, has healing.
Yeah.
But Fuzro doing a good job at making sure that he's strong enough to make that gank work.
Yeah, and again, you for sure on the side of ABW, you're going to take that in regards to a gank as well as getting a kill onto your Nasus, but it's not necessarily horrific in the sense of, the Shyvana does have, 2 kills under her belt now.
Yeah, now a couple plates.
And is, yeah, exactly, and a couple plates. So there is, the difference between this game versus game 1 is, again, I think Fuzro has the resources and cash to, make an impact on the map. We'll see where that goes. In game 1, it was kind of again having that CS differential. This time again, I think it's both CS and kills. So we'll see where that goes.
Something I actually really like on Zoe support is going the Hex Flash. It's pretty
free more movement.
Yeah, every time you do it, you get your passive as well on your W.
Again, that's just general zone knowledge. I wasn't even aware of that. So again,
yeah, it's pretty funny. It catches a lot of people off guard.
And again, I think that the most beneficial difference between this and game 1 on the side of 2 is that even though ABW continues to have the stacking and continues to have, stackers in those solo lanes, you know, ABW has the damage differential in mid. They've had additional push. Fuzro has the ability to, affect both of those lanes, all lanes, I guess, in regards to this. So, this definitely it feels a whole lot closer than it did perhaps, at 13 minutes last game.
Yeah, I agree, and I really like the instant dragon take here by the side of 2. But this is gonna start getting tough here for Draco. Slammer Jack trading right back in the mid lane though.
And this is the difference between game 1 versus game 2. In game 1, obviously that Nasus was still as much of a threat. Game 2 is even a bit more of a threat. But with Bromstein being down substantially here, there isn't that necessary. There is not same level of pressure all across the map that ABW had in game 1. So, and even just simply that, like
That was beautiful.
Absolutely, and on the side of L, going from Soraka, which is a little bit more passive style, and more discouraging initiates, to have the ability with Morgana to kind of flip the script, I think is working out very well on the side of 2. And the thing I like with 2 thus far as well, yep,
Wow.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
That's...
It's a massacre. Is Fusro gonna live? Oh!
Oh.
Mpix picking up the kill. Now this is some action. Boom!
Oh, and just a snipe on the side of Samurai Jack. And even just before that fight, the one comment I wanted to have before Ampex, again, to be honest, again, made quite a play, was that the vast majority of kills were on the Nasus and the Kayn, and there was nothing on the bot side except, again, just to be honest, deaths. While there is still a good deal of deaths, at least the Caitlyn was able to get a kill or a trade in regards to that. Whereas on the side of 2, yes, that Draco doesn't have anything but O's free 1 and is down on the set. All the rest of the members on their team have kills. They've got advantages in almost all of those areas, so it's for sure boding well on the side of 2 here. So, and this is the unfortunate thing again about ABW's comp. It's not that again the Nasus is not putting in work. It's just if you're behind, you've got the tools to be first in an objective, but it can't necessarily be that fun to arrive at an objective when a lot of these guys, again, are, to be honest, ahead of you at this particular juncture.
Oh! Great flash by JWM.
Yeah, fantastic flash on the side of JWM. I think he's going to be able to secure a kill, but no, he kind of just backs off, takes it easy. That's, I don't think necessarily that's a bad idea off of stuff, but it's a difficult position, having being a top laner myself and feeling like again you're 4-1, you're having your impact as best as you can on the map, but either they're all coming for you as they Samurai Jack again slips up and gets another kill. Just fantastic moves on the side of 2 in regards to enabling, everyone on their team, and the Nasus just, they're in a fantastic position, but just due to the rest of the map, it could get again problematic here for them because they're, if you feel great when you're in Nasus and you have the rest of your team can kind of hold the line so that you can kind of continue your stuff. But I'm not sure on the side of ABW if that can realistically be a case with how things are going on the rest of the map.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a huge contingency of the bot lane from ABW from getting that like early first blood that they were just barely not able to manage, and it's really put them behind ever since.
And again, we're getting up to kind of that 3K gold lead on the side of 2. This is what again you were hoping for. Yeah, like you can look at the draft aspect, but I think just simply 2, with that Ash Morgana has the combination of whether they wanted to go damage with both characters having that utility. And while I think the Zoe was extremely effective in the earlier parts and is still kind of quote doing what they can, there's just again a sense of fragility in regards to that bot lane as well, that once there's been a little bit of impact, once there's been a little bit of gold, you're kind of you're hoping that you can kind of like almost you almost feel like you have to hand stiff. Like I've seen really bad Zed hit at least 5 or 6 Sleepy Trouble levels, and there's just not enough damage to profoundly drive 2 away from what they want to do.
JWM coming in like a monster truck, but it is going to get stunned by L. Nice bubble coming in. Sadu trying to follow up on it. Ult's in. Awesomenator getting really low. Looks like they're all going to go down here.
Oh, again, and just a fantastic response by ABW. Everybody ultimately is going to drop. It is, obviously, there isn't, Baron doesn't come up for another minute and a half, but that's exactly what you needed to get back into the game. Again, not only at this point are you stopping 2's dragon stacking, you've aced them, and again, I think it's just quite simply a disjointed fight in regards to stuff on the side of ABW. Draco wasn't able to really teleport in time, and the NASA's had enough time to make an impact and make that an unbalanced fight far quicker. So, well done on the side of ABW, especially, again, JWM on the NASA's. But that also, again, starts with, having effective vision. So, full credit to the rest of the team for setting them up in a position where, they could take advantage of that. Going to again be exceptionally interesting. There's a lot of, again, obviously JWM got a fair bit of kills. He's absolutely massive on the NASA's. But what kind of again slightly frightens me is, despite there being 5 kills, they got flipped back on the side of ABW. Very, very little has gone on to people that are not, like, especially the Vigar. The Vigar right now is, while they are stacking, while they've got their stuff, it's, they're pretty substantially gone, down in mid lane. It's going to be fascinating for, if Samurai Jack can kind of take advantage of that in regards to the damage difference, and again, if 2 can, protect or use, the gold differential in that lane, as ABW has used previously with JWM. So. Indeed, that's just, again, a straight, just slapping them with five people, as opposed to, again, with the with Bromstein there on the bot lane. And again, I think that this is going to be a point where, if they're not going to threaten they can definitely threaten JWM, who doesn't have teleport. So it's going to be, we'll see how much damage he can kind of mitigate. But
he's a menace, but I think he's going to go down here. Yeah, I mean, the side of 2 is like, okay, Nasus doesn't have TP, let's just take 5 people and run at him if he's going to be in the side lane. Same with the Vigar. The Vigar's just like, okay, I need to, I only have Seraphs here. I'm still really not that strong, so I'm just going to farm for a while.
And it's going to be exceptionally interesting in the remainder of this game, because quite frankly, again, anybody who is not the top or jungler on the side of ABW is, pretty substantially down at this point and doesn't have the kills to kind of impact stuff. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I appreciate Bromstein, getting a little bit of time in regards to that, having some of that push, but it did also come at a cost of, kind of some of the members of his team that, are currently their carry in their win condition. So, I think again, it's a difficult trade, and it's going to be hard for, ABW to kind of negotiate that aspect of having some time to, let this Vigar scale a bit, where, if it's costing them JWM, that I don't think is going to be beneficial. So we'll see.
Wow, what a connect onto really bad Zed. A lot of follow up.
And I think again that's also going to be the death of Kane there. This could be again, if I'm on the side of 2, I'm pinging the Baron right now.
Do Baron.
So.
Draco's doing their part, although now they're taking a lot of that debuff. JWM is gonna be pretty big. Draco doesn't have ult here, but I don't think he can get anything accomplished.
No, and again, it's JWM is doing what he can here, but it's also a situation where the fight. What a great dark binding.
Yeah.
This is just again, it's a little bit of miscommunication on the side of. Oh my. Whew. Again, I'm pretty sure I heard a gasp of pleasure from my resident Zoe friend, fellow caster here in regards to that.
I love that. One of my favorite things in the game, dude. It's just massive battle star blowing someone up. So cool.
Again, on the side of ABW, it just, again, they seem to have 3 or 4 people in regards to some of these things, but just because Bromstein has been away from the fight for so long and even getting soloed by Draco, this is exactly what 2 wants off of it, is that if this Vigar can't be present even just for the sake of a baby cage, this, fights are going to kind of continue to go the side of 2, because while JWM is substantially stacked, very much a beast, it is so difficult to engage upon the team that 2 has with so much CC that you're having to do a constant dance just to keep yourself alive here, and 2's obviously taking advantage of that here, pushing in towards the base.
Alright, JWM, let's see it. Gets hit by the Morgana Q, is just getting ripped apart.
Again, doing what they can, getting the Set Lynch Draco dropping there. But it's
this is the one thing about Anasis is that it kind of sucks because into this kind of team comp you really want Ghost. Flashing a certain thing like a Morgana binding and then using Ghost to get on top of him and ignoring a lot of the Ashe autos. But
and that's exactly it, right? We haven't spent a lot of time talking about Awesome Nader on the Ashe. We've kind of touch in and touch out, but I think in general that in a lot of these team fights where JWM is ahead and pushing hard, that additional slow that's being provided in regards to Ashe's attacks is just it's kind of a death by 100 or death by 1,000 paper cuts, and
very nice ult, Slammer Jack following it up. That's a lot of damage. Apex is getting real low and gonna go down.
So I think again we're gonna see ourselves moving towards a game 3 here, and again, we'll have to see what ABW responds, because the NASA stuff for sure is working, but the adaptations by 2 are, it's like night and day, where 2 has had the ability to be the aggressors in these later parts, and it's due to damage, and it's just paying off in spades for them.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm ABW, I'm just screaming, I can't move.
So, and that's the major detriment as well about ABW's comp right now is that they have pseudo go buttons where, again, like, yes, the Nasus or Kane can run at you, but Awesome Nader being able to use the Ashe ult for both engage and disengage, that's paid off in spades this game. So,
yeah, I think the huge thing is ABW needs a cage, and it hasn't been there for them.
Yeah, very much so. So. And again, it's not as if ABW's comp in the end is necessarily, all that bad. I just think that in general, because they weren't able to hyperscale either mid or bot, like Really Bad Zed has had fantastic, Sleepy Trouble bubbles, but there's just not enough damage. There's not enough follow-up. There isn't the Vygar coming over the top with Melt. There's not, again, okay, you've been Sleepy Trouble bubbled, here's a trap right under your feet afterwards, and you're just going to get absolutely blown up. There's just not enough gold on the bot side for that Zoe, who has generally made some plays to, the team just hasn't been able to take advantage of it. So, Set getting some push-ups in there, making sure not to skip, midsection day. So full credit to it in that regard. And this has just been a case of something that's, to be honest, all too frequent in the later parts of this game. JWM just, again, when you've only got Flash and your team can't threaten elsewhere, you're kind of put in a situation where, do you extend that much? And if you do, are 3 or 4 people just gonna wait, come say hello, and take various shots of CCing and then beating you down? Because that's happened multiple times, and I don't necessarily think it's JWM's fault. It's just there's nothing that the rest of their team can do to, stop that from being the case. So.
All right, 2. Run Baron. Yup.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And again, you've got the wave set up well enough where they're, if ABW isn't going to at least threaten you, you've got the option of whether you want to bait Baron or whether you just simply want to take a pick and then summarily destroy the base as a result. And will they get the pick here on Really Bad Zed? I think they will, at least.
Yeah, but Fusro is going to need backup here, and it doesn't look like 2 can connect with them. Mbek's not doing a lot of damage without all Draco getting in here. Does have the grit set up. Just barely misses Sawdu at L, trying to create some space here. JWM ult running out. So now Fusro is able to come back in. Slammer Jack joining the fight. And everyone's just barely living, but JWM does go down. So now it's a 5-man advantage for the side of 2. And it looks like they're going to go Baron.
Yeah, and I don't think that fight by ABW was bad. They're just so far behind that, the damage just simply wasn't enough for it to be there. Whether it was the Caitlyn ult or anything along those lines. I don't think they fought like that was necessarily a bad fight. It's just so hard to find traction when, again, the people that, you're expecting to have kills 31 minutes in, the Vygar's got nothing kill-wise, and, the Caitlyn's got 2. So, in comparison, you're dealing with, some of the bruisers who, well, again, the set was beat up over the course of the game. The set has as many kills as the entire bot side of of ABW. And so that's unfortunately really bad Zed having another really bad disconnect. So hopefully that at the very least that doesn't hopefully that doesn't affect stuff too much. But and I just think the adaptations that 2 did in regards to having additional damage on the side of Slamline Jack and Awesomenator's Ash, I think both of those again play effectively to the 2 things that, for the most part, not to take anything away from the Kane, but given the fact that both games, Nasus and Vigar, the entire top side of the map was exactly the same from game 1 to game 2, and on the side of 2, they went back. They adapted to it, and I think you're seeing the fruits of the labor of that right here. So.
Poor JWM. Nice arrow by Awesomenator. That does land a sleepy bubble in the Fuzero, but he just barely lives. The damage is just not there. You're totally correct on that. Although I do wish 2 could just close out this game if they just get the Baron.
Well, we'll see again if they get the pick here as they are. I think they at the very least can grab both the mid and bot inhibitors and threaten an end. There is only 2 people on the side again. Obviously, where Caitlyn and Vigar can be scary, but I'm not sure how scary they are right now in regards to this game. So, they're going to take both inhibitors. Looks like they're going to just reset. They're in fantastic position. I would be a whole lot more concerned on the side of 2 if they hadn't essentially helped to cut this Vigar out of the game. You don't, in the case of Vigar and Nasus, you have that infinite stacking potential, but quite simply again in the last 10 minutes, Nasus has gotten caught 3-4 times in regards to solo lanes where they've been able to bring 3 or 4 to him, and Vigar just hasn't had any traction the whole game. Like there just hasn't been anything, and again, unfortunately, there's additional visitations here on the side of where Bromstein is going to go down here.
Yeah. So, he can have as much AP as he wants there. It's going to be tough if he's only at 2 items 35 minutes into a game.
So given things how they are in regards to Game 3, what type, or given that we're leading stuff towards Game 3, what do you think? What changes have to be done on the side of ABW here to match the intensity and aggression that 2 has had in this second game?
Yeah, so I really think, like, as much as I really love Zoebot, and I'm really glad I got to see it, it's a little bit of a meme in the way, like, if you don't get that initial kill, it is tough. It is a rough lane after that. Like, you really have to put the pressure on your enemy. They have to be like 0-3, coming out of lane phase. And if you don't, this is what, unfortunately, what the game's gonna look like, because you don't provide anything for lane really other than that initial first 3 levels. And then after that, you also have to roam a ton. So it's like, it's just a really tough pick to pull off. So I do, although I loved it, I'm thinking it's not as like reliable as other picks in the bot lane there. So there could be a chance of changing that up, and then they really need the mid laner from ABW. If he's gonna pick Vigar, he has to be there for an objective, and has to, like, if Zoe is going to land a bubble, if they're gonna go Zoe again, there has to be a cage around him to force that person to do something after they're woken up, because that's the idea, right? So you have this
Mhm.
delayed stun, so the rest of your team can converge on it. But if the rest of your team isn't converging on it, then you're out of luck.
What I'm hoping for on the side of 2 again as we're moving towards game 3 is that I think they need to change up their bans. What that late Ash pick and Hui pick were exceptional in
Hmm.
setting the tone off of that. I'm not sure again in regards to, how the bans for this third game are going to roll out, but both of those champions I feel were exceptional in having adjusting two's dynamic in regards to stuff, whether that's the way for additional damage or again, like genuinely, all things considered, that Ash pick functions so exceptionally well into what ABW has, even as they're kind of trying to round out that comp.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, what adaptations ABW bring, whether that's, side selection, whether that's again different bands. Um, so we'll see. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think it was really well done by two. The Ash pick definitely was. You didn't really, like you said, it was a death by 1,000 cuts, and so you see it on the damage charts. Like he didn't have top damage, but he was so useful that game. The ults,
Mm-hmm.
he was the utility the team needed. All right, so I think I've got the third draft right here.
So again, even looking at this, with this general setup, here moving into game 3, obviously, ABW, they switched it around. Obviously, okay, so 2.
Mm-hmm.
With 2 obviously prioritizing Hui again and getting the Ash. I
Yeah.
was remarking about that going into from game 2 to game 3, but looking at this with how this is set up, perhaps you've removed. I do see the removal of the set in regards to just having that be present and gone, but with how this setup by ABW is, they in previous games the Amumu had been banned, so I don't mind it necessarily as a first pick. I don't know enough to say in regards to the players, but the fact that 2 was able to get out of first rotation, largely retaining three of the champions that made their last team comp go in the Hui, in the Shyvana, in the Ashe. Additionally, like Ashe Seraphine is just it is a no fun lane.
Mm-hmm.
There's no enjoyment going down there in bot lane for ABW, even though you're like, hey, I've got the Jinx, I've got, there's Nami for support. It's still it's a miserable, no fun lane in regards to, what's being presented. So I for sure really like the fact that 2 has taken that additional step of going, okay, this is what we feel has worked and we're working on implementing it. Whereas ABW, again, obviously having the Amumu open to them as a selection, they're definitely leaning on that in regards to that additional ban being open. So there's a lot of work that I feel has to be done on the side of ABW. They do have enough beef, but the one qualm that I have with Cassante off of it is that if at some point you're more focused on your own 1v1 or trying to remove someone from the fight, if you remove yourself from the fight, that is not something that at all is fun on the side of ABW. You are so heavily reliant on the Amumu to launch a multi-man Curse of the Sad Mummy. And with that Mundo again as the last pick, there on the side of ABW, you're going to have to find some way to knock the canister off in regards to earlier parts of that fight. Otherwise, again, the good doctor is just going to keep running at your team in regards to some of those things. So I feel like, again, on the side of 2, it's just simply we go in a straight line, Whereas ABW, if they go too much in a straight line with the Amumu, they have to hope that they're the first ones to pull the trigger, because if they're not, 2 will just continue to keep going in a straight line, and there's just not enough, whether it's beef or anything like that, to ultimately hold up. And if somebody, again, if the Jinx goes down, or even the Oxshot, the damage profile on this team can get very dangerous in a hurry. So we'll have to see what direction the Amumu takes. But I definitely like, again, the fact that 2 realized what worked in the last game and chose to stick with it and take advantages and take little things that ABW has given them.
Yeah, I honestly totally agree with everything you said. The one thing I do want to add on is like I like to see Brahms team on the auction here. Something that's, this is not something he can just relatively just sit in a side lane the whole game and, okay, I'm stacking. Hopefully we see a little bit more interaction from Brahmsy in the mid lane here.
So,
and I've seen Brahmsy pop off on the auction. I was on the team with them when they did. All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it. This is, again, like, coming into this third game, this has been super fun in regards to both sides. Both sides have had, like, there have been points where both sides have had control, where both sides have had a misstep here and there. So, I'm really excited as to what both these teams are going to bring onto the Rift for this third and deciding game. So the one thing I want to note in regards to this is as well the swap. MPEX going from ADC in the first 2 games and now, being in the support role here on the Nami, and Tyler Juan being brought in with L being, so there is a switch up in dynamic in regards to the bot lane. MPEX starting the first couple games here in the ADC role and now transitioning to support. So we'll see as well if that kind of, upsets the bot lane balance in its own way.
Yeah, that is really interesting that they did that.
So the other thing that is, I as someone who enjoys their their fair bit of Mundo, it's interesting, and I personally enjoy the fact that 2 ended up taking multiple ghosts in this game in regards to stuff to kind of continue that aspect of just running straight at them. But so yeah, we'll see again in regards to what manifests here in game 3. It's going to be interesting given the fact that in the first 2 games it was Set versus Nasus. We'll see what JWM versus Lynch Draco up here. If it's more of the same, or if again the champion changes again are more balanced, or that things have been different. Because for the most part, JWM has had their number in regards to Lynch Draco when in the Set versus Nasus matchup. So we'll see in regards to that how it changes. Nothing too again excessive in regards to the starts here. Relatively conventional by both teams, quite frankly. Again, things remaining relatively, conventional. Nothing's too shocking related to jungler starts or, again, general training. But I think, again, even at level 2, you start to see this little bit of, the Ashe Seraphine continuing to be more frustrating, so to say. It's just the extra little bit of additional aspect of hope. It's not again as if the Nami can't heal/deal with that, but to kick the actual like the additional aspect of just mobility, whether that's empowered, whether that's empowered Seraphine abilities or just simply Ash slows, the mobility that's present in the bot lane, is slightly affected by the fact of it being Ash Seraphine on the side of 2. That being said, again, fantastic little choppers here. Heal going out on the being used by L, but Amumu also being here as well. This is going to be a 3v3, and if Fusro can wait, if Fusro can,
It's a good attempt by Fusro there. Sadu just barely missing the bandage. Ooh, Ghost.
Great choice there by the Amumu for the flash away. Again, this fight continues to drag on and on.
Yeah.
Tyler Juan looking for those resets, but again, perhaps
Oh, and the bubble. And there it is.
Yeah.
Wow, what an extended fight.
Fantastic bubble on the side of Impact. That fight could have went a variety of ways. So full credit again to kind of both of these people. Ooh, is that going to be another one? Yeah, Impact's, flashing, making sure that, the Nami gets her payout as well. Again, that's just credit to Impact. Impact has played a quietly, again, successful series in regards to stuff, taking advantage of times in which Awesomenator and L have kind of not necessarily exposed themselves, but just given opportunities. So Awesomenator usually has been good in regards to that. So I wouldn't say necessarily a rare misstep, because there was a lot of ways where things could have gone differently, but simply the resources, the additional flash by the fact that Impacts had their flash, that they had a little bit of mana in regards to the Aqua Prison, those resources have generated an early lead on the side of ABW.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see some more aggression here in the mid lane. I see Brahms team attempting to. They took the ignite, so they're attempting to get up that solo queue on the board, or the solo kill. I haven't seen a lot of solo kills in this series. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, no, and I think that's definitely the case. The interesting thing is that I'm not against Brahms team taking the ignite, but given that there's a Mundo in the game, that definitely, it's not necessarily bad, but if Mundo's ult is up, you're that ignite is not going to be as useful as it would be versus other top laners, because again of just how Mundo's ult exists. So it's not again as if it's bad, but speaking from the perspective of a top laner, if I see that, at the very least, it's not as daunting if I was on Mundo as, like I said, it would be for other champs in regards to stuff where I'd have a bigger red flashing light in regards to watch out for this auction.
Yeah, so, and this is where it hurts. He didn't pick up that first blood, and now he's down 15 CS and isn't able to TP back in.
The interesting aspect about this series as well is, having gone to 3 games, there was a point where, in regards to that game 2 where the junglers that came mid and both traded flashes. For the most part, again, these 2 junglers have stayed by and large, pretty close in regards to tracking one another, but it's interesting how little, at least early. Oh, fantastic job there by Brahms.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
what
you need to do. Yeah. And I think again, by and large, I'll be honest, it was heavily necessary. Bromstein had to make that play based off of the CS difference, as well as the fact again that he doesn't have teleport. So full credit to Bromstein for that, because that I think was a heavily necessary thing in order to kind of keep him in the earlier parts of this game. So.
Wow. I mean, Mpex is just landing everything.
Yeah.
I I'm quite I just don't quite understand how MPEX is not a 17 cost. Uh, not quite sure how that slipped past the commissioners there.
No, and again, Mpex has for sure had a fantastic series in that regard. JWM continuing to flex their muscles up top lane, getting that advantage on the Mundo. The difference between this and previous times, though, again, as someone who does, splash into the Mundo, is that it's not necessarily that bad per se. It's okay to give up, like to have these slight disadvantages, because you're going to get to that particular point, either if that's Heart Steel, if that's Warmogs, or what have you. Mundo is still going to be Mundo, and Cassante will, still kind of, be effective, but it's not the Nasus versus Set in the aspect of, again, you don't have that same level of, a ticking time bomb where, you might be necessarily as well moved from the game.
Oh, no.
Oh, unfortunate, but again, good flash on the side of Slamurai Jack there, getting out. Unfortunate ult on the side of the Amumu, as well as the flash being burned. If one of them again had gone, I would have said that's just the fair trade. But unfortunately, that's kind of both sides of stuff. Yes, again they are ahead, but that the amount of investment that occurred in bot lane or in mid lane. Oof. Excellent aggressive flash there on the side of Awesomenator too. Getting enough of the W here. I don't know if Mpex it's going to be close in the end. I know, yeah, good flash on the side of Mpex. Obviously realizing that Awesomenator had burned their flash on the last time in order to secure that shutdown on Tyler Huan.
It's important to note that Jinx went Collector there, and they didn't have the ult advantage that they had before. Looks like JWM taking some pressure, but the side of 2 had ults there. Bromstein, known for his ganks on Akshan, roaming down, picking up 2 kills for his team there.
And that's just, again, excellent roaming by Bromstein. That's just great knowledge of the champion in regards to Akshan play. Making sure to take advantage of what was being presented on the side of 2. But that being said, yes, you're getting a kill and you're getting benefits to your team. You're getting your Jinx fed, but on the other side, you're still we're 11 minutes in and you're 40 plus CS down on the side, where Hui's up on you, and so there is trade-offs in regards to that. There is benefits. Obviously, you want the Jinx head. The Jinx is going to be, your win con. You've hyper-scaled that, as well as getting a little bit for yourself. But on the side of 2, it's not as bad as it could be, because once more, you've gotten that Hui, which in game 1, was extremely effective for you. There is, and despite it being 7-3, the gold is not that far off, and you've got the utility of the Ashe Seraphine. Yes, they're 1 and 5, but they still, again, are going to be relevant in regards to their ults. So it'll be interesting to see how this all translates out.
Great ult by L. Bromstein trying to cover the flank, but just doesn't have the damage to 1v2 there. And looks like they just pick up the kill onto Mpex.
And to be honest, we'll see after this fight. JWM popping the.
I have a feeling he wanted to go all the way through that wall. Oh, Sawdude with a beautiful ult, but it's too late. Most of the team is down, and they're in a 3v4. Sawdude going down as well. This is bait. ABW needs to get out.
And again, I think, rarely am I the one to necessarily throw criticism, but this team fight that by and large went on the side of 2, Oh, but it could be turned here by a teleport on the side of JWM. We'll see what comes of this. At least one is going to drop.
A lot of ambition. Wow. That's a lot of damage.
Just, hashtag just play things.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I'm really like winding that fight back, even in regards to that, I think that was a rare misstep on the side of Mpex. That was a really early ult and very quick pickoff that made things far more difficult for them than perhaps needed to be. There was a lot of gold that went the side of to the side of 2 that perhaps could have been changed a little bit differently if there wasn't, if they would have just taken it a little bit slower. You've got your Jinx hyper ahead, but even in regards to that last fight, Tyler Juan was putting up a great deal of damage, but they're just, and Imu was having some fantastic ults, but there's just not, again, another fantastic ult on the side of L. Just, that's just fantastic work on the Seraphine. And despite the Jinx being ahead, again, probably a trade back here, kill here. Again, fantastic work there by the Amumu and Brahms team working together. But my one concern off of this is that, JWM kind of, as well as, they're doing what they can, but a little bit of that fear is kind of creeping in. Yes, your Jinx is ahead, but if your Jinx isn't able to move ahead effectively, the Jinx is taking what damage is being presented to them, and they're doing the best they can, but if they're not able to get those resets and to feel comfortable enough to push ahead to secure those resets, you're going to run into dangerous situations here. I think you're starting to see that a little bit on the side of, ABW.
Yeah, something to note that is in most of the series, a lot of their gold lead was in the top lane, but it's putting Draco onto Mundo's. It's much better here. Keeps up with CS. Is a great score line. Doing great this game.
Absolutely, and full credit to Draco for that. The problematic thing again on the side of ABW right now is that because that Mundo now has the Warmogs, they've hit their Warmogs threshold when it comes to that, it's exceptionally difficult now to kind of push that Mundo can advance in regards to what objectives as well as just exist in lane, how he sees fit. So if you're not going to burst him out, he'll go hide for 10 seconds and come back, basically at full health. So it allows the flexibility of 2 to kind of pick and dictate, they could have those longer sustained fights if things kind of go their way. And again, another fantastic pick on JWM. JWM, they've had a couple plays in each of these games where they're being ambitious and they're trying to make a play, but quite frankly, just the rest of the team isn't there with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in a game like this is starting again to profoundly affect them. These picks again are making it harder for the rest of ABW to generate traction in other lanes. And given the fact that 2 has leaned into this kind of utility aspect, whether it's the Ashe Morgana or the Ashe Seraphine, it's not fun / easy for the rest of ABW to initiate. But again, another teleport here by JWM trying to make something of it, but again, just nice little play.
Yeah, the unstoppable into the Seraphine ult was very well done. He's just bashing his head against the wall until his team makes mechanical outplay. Right there, it definitely works.
And again, fantastic play there by on the side of ABW. 2 just they were caught in 2 different directions in regards to the pit. A couple of them went one way, a couple of them went went the other way, and that's exactly what ABW wants, is, to have that point where it's a split fight where not all of them are on the same page, where you can choose if you want to engage on the Ash Seraphine, if the, and as well, Fuzro gets caught here. There's a lot of gold that's going back onto the side up, and even just Samurai Jack here. Yes, that's a trade back, but I think on the side of ABW, you're taking that 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10. That's, the areas where the biggest, a little bit ambitious on the side of Bromstein.
I saw the vision.
Yeah, you see the play.
But now 2 just comes back. It's just a back and forth, and boom! Tyler Juan gets the pickup. I mean, it's just a back and forth between both teams.
Yeah, and again, good job there by ABW to at least, again, secure something out of that situation that wasn't necessarily favorable for them. The only qualm off of this is once more, short of, again, yes, the Ashe is sitting there down in CS, but with Ashe being, fairly utility style, there is massive, advantages in the jungle in regards to gold as well. Bromstein's doing as much as, again, fantastic score with 427, but gold-wise, again, for the most part, that's still relatively equal. So it's going to be interesting. The other aspect is that when we're looking at this, given that the Amumu's 0-3-4, speaking from a top laner's perspective, as soon as that, you see it with the Tab eyes, and you see that with, moving towards what looks like Heartsteel here. If I'm the Mundo, I'm sitting there licking my lips later going, okay, I'm just going to stack an absolute pile of armor versus these 280 carries that hold 12 of the 16 kills on the side of ABW. So.
Most definitely. S2 does have a gold lead here, but they're taking their time to get this Baron, just trying to bait them in, because they know they have the Ash Arrow, follow it up with the Seraphine, and the Hue ult. That's a lot of ults for just the Akshan. Is ABW able to... Yeah, they trade back with a lot of damage. I mean, yeah, the Jinx doesn't have quite as great front to back with the build that he's going with the Collector first item, but that ult, it hits hard.
Yeah, absolutely, and Tyler Juan has been really effective at picking up those ults in these last kind of, again, fights, using that damage and as well the items to kind of, again, flex and make some of those situations where 2 is getting a pick, he's balancing it out at least somewhat. Mm-hmm. He's getting a return kill. He's making it 2v1. So, credit to Tyler Juan in regards to, how they're operating off of this. My one danger off of this is that I feel like on the side of ABW, you're going to need that Amumu to find the backline at some point, to find a flank in regards to some of these objectives. Because, if you're looking at Hue, if you're looking at Ashe, if you're looking at Seraphine, you've got to find that spot, that sweet spot where, you're able to pin some of those guys. And even in regards to this, Amumu's getting that ult, but because it's not on the back side, it was only generally on to, onto Fuzro there. Ultimately, that fight goes on the side of 2.
Yeah, they haven't started stacking it too much on the side of 2, but Amumu is their only source of AP. So armor on the side of 2 is gonna be very strong.
And the one thing that is again, like, it's an unfortunate level of situation where all 2 really deep down has to do is stick around in a, relatively speaking, pretty close clump. They don't want to go too far out and extend, except for unless you're the Mundo, because that Akshan could easily make what perceives again as a 1v1 into a 2v1. But with how Mundo is right now, again, you don't fear stuff if you're Draco. Whoever's in lane, again, whether that's Bromstein, whether that's somebody plus Bromstein, you don't have that same level of threat because of how ABW has constructed their comp. And so the rest of 2 can kind of, again, the Hui, the Ashe, the Seraphine, they have that level of comfort knowing that, you know, they're both their clump as well as Mundo can exist, you know, without danger as much. And you're seeing that there where Mpex again has to kind of again burn the flash. Because there just isn't again. You're reliant on hoping for an Amumu style flank. And you know, Tyler Huan finally getting picked here. That's exactly what you want on the side of 2. Because again, even though the kills are by and large the same, and it's not a huge gold lead, the flexibility and agency that 2 has here is substantial, and it isn't again, you know, it's not something that's, you know, it's starting to get represented on the gold graph here, as they're probably going to get close to being up 5k gold. In fact, they are exactly, you know, 5k gold up here. But on the side of ABW, I don't want to say it's desperation time, but it's desperation time with, again, Soul up here. And, you know, the Mundo, either way you're going to lose something. You're going to have to, you know, make a desperation play here. And instead, unfortunately, just because of positioning, they gave up both the turret and the Soul, a worst case scenario. And, you know, even more so with that being, you know, a Mountain Drake and a Mountain Soul, that's even more horrific with what, you know, with what is being presented on the side of 2.
Boost Road getting a little dangerous here. Drago is able to back him up. JW, I'm trying to make something like the great ult by Sawdude, as like you said, the fight is split here. Is ABW picking up a few kills? Awesominator trying to clean up. Ults are down on the side of 2. And it's a 1 for 2 in favor of ABW. But Sawdude, a little bit ambitious, trying to pick this up right in front of their faces. Is forced to flash out. Oh no, Tyler 1 taking the root from L. L taking a bubble. Awesominator flashing in for the kill.
And again, I think that, you know, there will at least again be something on there's additional stuff, but again, I think it's just a case of greed on the side of the Amumu there. You'd gotten your pick, you had you'd gotten rid of the essentially like much of the beefcakes, and then you're trying to push in, you're trying to get a little bit more, and you know that ended up costing multiple lives as a result of going, well, we've got a numbers advantage. Well, yes you do, but damage wise that doesn't necessarily translate out. You may have numbers, but you know the numbers that you have are not necessarily on primarily fed members, especially in contrast the Amumu, who, you know, as of right now doesn't have an absolute boatload of tank related stuff, and you know it's a difficult situation. So again, ambitious on the side of ABW, and 2 summarily just punishes.
If I'm 2 here, I'm just prepping Baron. Look at all that great vision.
Yeah, again, fantastic vision. You're absolutely right on the side of, you know, on the side of 2. But the other benefit of stuff, the only way that 2 can, you know, make this game again a bit of a threat is, you know, to get lightly picked. You don't even need the Baron. As long as you're holding the line and you eventually, you know, you're able to secure that that Elder, if it comes to that, you know, you're just going to steamroll the majority of ABW if you get that Elder. Fantastic little.
Sawdude finally finding access to the bot line, or the back line, as he knows that the side of 2 is in the bot lane. They're tanks. 2 is trading here for the inhib, but I mean, yeah, it's unfortunately the speed of the play cannot go fast enough for ABW as they're trying to do something. They know they have to make something work. JWM just, trying to make something work there. I don't blame them. The mental stack is overloaded. Like, you finally have this chance to get on the back line, but they just peel away from you. And then all of a sudden the tanks are taking your bot side. What do you do?
And that's the thing is that, the the Amumu here, obviously going to pull your truck, but that aspect of the Mundo here, the Mundo's got Thornmail. The Mundo has, the Mundo can sit there in a side lane and dare ABW to make a move. If ABW doesn't make a move, this type of stuff happens where, where 2 just gets objectives for free, more or less, because they need to invest a fair bit of stuff. There's a lot of points, even in regards to where Soul, where that Mundo is sitting there knocking on the turret, and if you're not responding to Soul, okay, he's taking, he'll take that second turret. If you're not dealing with the Mundo at bot lane, okay, you're potentially giving up, Baron. So we're now at that point off of stuff where this Elder's coming up in 80 seconds, and if at 2 can decide and dictate what they need to do. To be honest, again, with that bot lane inhibitor, maybe with both inhibitors again gone on the side of ABW, you've got that freedom. You send that Mundo top, you stack the other 4 around the Elder, and you just wait. And whatever choice ABW makes, you just make it a losing one for them. Not necessarily perhaps a game losing one, but okay, are you going to give up 3 inhibitors? Are you going to give up Elder? And it looks like again that they're going to lean towards the Mundo here, who sits there, smiles, and is continuing to fight, but it's also coming at the cost of your base. So.
Yeah. And that's it. JWM trying to make a desperate play to the end of the game. Also, when they're taking a lot of damage, they're forced to use a lot of ults. Bromstein is just gonna take a joy trip real quick.
Yeah, enjoying stuff, and that's all she wrote.
And Bex with a crazy flash to almost bring back the game, but unfortunately, just barely doesn't. And that's it. 2 takes the series.
And again, full credit to 2. Things didn't go well for them in game 1. They looked at what adaptations they had to have in regards to prioritizing, in this game, the Shyvana, Flame Horizon, the Amumu, but as well, just simply the damage profile of Hui, along with the utility of Ashe and either Seraphine or Morgana, was a winning combination that helped them to turn the series around. So, full credit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff from both teams. Great series. Glad we got to get a some 3 games here. See both teams pop off.
Well, and that's again the ultimate thing I think that both teams can kind of again take from this is that there was points where they were successful. There's things that in all 3 games that teams can kind of grow on. So while the result isn't probably what ABW obviously wanted, there is things that they can take away from it in a positive aspect. There's points where their top laner was successful in regards to games 1 and 2. Props to Draco in game 3 for stabilizing and bringing that back. But I think there was points in every single game where every player was successful, and parts again where they maybe tripped up and had a little error that comes with the fact of just how League of Legends is sometimes. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. They can definitely reflect upon it and you can easily see, like, okay, we can improve here pretty easily.
So.
Yeah, but GG's to both teams. Thank you again for co-casting for us.
Pleasure.
And I guess that's it. Everyone have a good day.
Have a great night. Cheers.